Alright, cool. Hey guys. So in this video, we're going to go over the transform component, and we're going to go over how we can access the different properties of the transform component to create different effects in the game. So, transform component, what is it? Well, it's one of the most basic components that we have inside of Unity. Every single object has it, and it's how we can control the position, rotation, and scale of an object. If you look right here, the transform component right here, it's the main component. Inside of there are a couple of properties we can access, such as position, rotation, and scale. If we want to change anything inside of Unity, let me take off the overlay real quick. Cool. So, inside the transform component, we have the position, rotation, and scale. If we wanted to do something in Unity, like, hey, let's move this character to a new position, we would access the position property. If we wanted to rotate something like a turn, we'd access the rotation property. And finally, if we wanted to change the scale of an object, we would access the scale property. Accessing the components inside of Unity will allow us to not only create some pretty cool functionality, but allow us to actually move our character in a very streamlined and defined way. So, we're going to go over how to change position, rotation, and scale in this video. And we're going to go over it in Unity so you guys can actually see the code. As you guys know, we talked about the position property. Position property takes about 3 different values, right? Your X, your Y, and your Z. Each value stands for a coordinate direction or vector on the Unity grid. Anytime you move an object, you're changing its position. So like right here, if I want to access the position property, I would just set the position to be a new vector 3, and then set it to be 0, 0, 0. That's how that would work out. Just to show you guys how this looks when it comes to the coding, let me actually go over here and show you guys, skip around, yada yada yada. Here we go. So when we're talking about the coding for the position property, it looks more like this. When we change the position inside of C#, we first get the transform component, because that's the component we want to access the properties inside of. So we do get component, transform, open close parentheses. After that, we do the dot, change the position property. From there, we set it to be a new vector 3. So I'm going to go over how to do that inside of Unity real quick. And then after that, I'm going to go over the code for changing the rotation and changing the scale. You'll have access to all these slides in addition to this video content, so you'll be good to go if you ever get stuck. So if I'm inside Unity, and I have this guy right here, right? Let's say this guy is trapped in this little box, and I want to move him from his little box here to this area here when we start the game. How would I do that? Well, I'm going to first make a new script, and I will basically create that script so that it changes the position property of the object. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to just first return on my overlay. I'm going to right click, go to create, and go to C# script. And I'm going to just call this change position, just so I know what this does. And actually I named it wrong, so let me actually change naming. I'm going to use Pascal case instead of camel case because it's a script. So I'm going to do change position. There we go. And double click. I don't care. I'm going to do not recover. Cool, and this is it. So the way this works is this is our C# script, and I want to just create a script that says, hey, when the game starts, I'm just going to move my character to a new position. Let me just first figure out what position I want to move him to. I'm going to click on my character, and I want him to go to somewhere around here when we start, right? So that's going to be 0, negative 2.5. Let me just see, negative 2.5. Yeah, it's pretty good. So the X is going to be 0, Y can be negative 2.5, and the Z is going to be 0. So I know the position I want to move him to. I'm going to go back into the code and start from here. Now the first thing I want to do, like we said, I want to get the transform component. So I'm going to do get component, open caret, transform, open close parentheses. Right here, I'm just getting the transform component. I'm telling the code, hey, I want to get this specific component. From there, I'm going to do dot, and I'm going to do position. So I can get the position property, and I will assign that to be a new vector 3, and I'm going to set it to 0, negative 2.5, f 0, like that. I'm going to full screen this real quick and just examine it. So first thing we did, we got the transform component. We're getting the position property, and we're setting it to be a new vector 3, 0, negative 2.5. We put an f at the end just so that Unity knows it's a float. Whenever you have a decimal, you just put an f at the end so Unity knows what it is, and then 0. So when the game starts, it's going to do this code. I'm going to save this right here, go back to Unity, like so. I'll make this full screen as well. And then you're going to click this script, and then you're going to drag it in here underneath our player. Now when I run the game, we just set the ordering layer to 1 to make sure, or 4 to make sure. He should go from inside that box to in that position. That's a very simple way to change the position of an object. Alright, cool. So that's how you change the position. I'm going to actually make a separate video for changing the rotation and the scale. So be on the lookout for those next 2 videos. With that being said, you know how to change position. You can manipulate this in any way you want. And I'll see you in the next video.